I'm not gonna lie, I am kind of disappointed with this character. It's not as fun as I thought she was gonna be. It's obviously pretty broken in ganks, and a lot of her interactions boil down to be pretty simple. It's still a well-made hero compared to most, but it suffers from problems which I'll talk about on its own section later. And at the end, I'll rate this character out of 10 and show how it compares to other high-quality heroes. But first, general review. The Virtuosa, much like VG or Blackbriar, is one of those characters that shifts the way that teamfights usually go. By that I mean these heroes have one really strong block ability that, unlike other full blocks, defensively speaking, covers a lot more options. Blackbriar counters everything, but you have to time it. VG has a normal full block, but blocks the enemy in place and is able to completely stop even zone attacks. And the Virtuosa has this alternate full block ability, but instead, it can counter bashes and unblockables instead of undodgeables. And given that these are a more common ability to have in neutral for most characters, and given that she can hold this Ultra Instinct pose indefinitely, instead of it being a timing thing, plus the offensive capabilities, this makes it the strongest stance in the game. So, just for fun, if we compare this Frieza stance to Highlander's previous offensive form, before the rework when he got Wave Dash, you can see that these are both strong offensive and counter-attacking forms, both having extremely fast attacks, and both having a special dodging ability, respectively. Only Wave Dashing was timing based, whereas her mode is not. And of course, there's a lot of differences between these two modes, but the core idea is the same. So they basically removed Wave Dashing and gave the new hero an automatic version of it. Great. To their credit, this stance offers a lot of variety and it is deep and fast-paced. So all I could ever want, right? That is in theory. And there is a lot to like in this character, for sure. First of all, it is a skill-based character because it makes you have to think about which side to throw your attack from in order to access your desired set of abilities. It gives her a strong sense of commitment, so when you think ahead and commit to attacking from one of the sides, if you manage to make your next attack land, it feels really good. Let me give you an example. Your enemy's back is against the wall. You notice that, so you attack from the right. Now you enter one of your stances, the one with the wall splat kick. If you then land that kick and get a heavy, you feel much more rewarded than if you were playing, say, a Pharah and her easy-ass wall splat kick. But now your enemy knows your trick, so in order to not get hit by that again, he dodges. And that's when you hit him with your hyper armor attack. You have to do all that while thinking one step ahead. Or I guess, one step more ahead than the usual? I don't know. People say that this character is clunky, but clunk disappears once you play character enough, and this character has, in my opinion, the hardest entry bar out of them all. If you thought Sohei was clunky back when he released because you were relegated to light and heavy, then this character is 3 times harder to play than that, since she has 3 modes, and each mode has 3 different moves, meaning if you accidentally enter the wrong stance, you're probably gonna throw a bad move, unsuitable for the current situation, and this is what I like. Lots of abilities, plays fast, strong sense of commitment, unique gimmick, and then you got soft paints in case all that wasn't enough. Huge. Now let's talk about what I don't like, and why I think this hero isn't on the same level of quality as, say, Khatoon. First off, her neutral is kinda basic. Take a look at everything Khatoon can do. From neutral, you got lights that can be backstepped, so that's always nice, because then you can play footsies and enter your deflect run. You got heavies that you can soft paint to a light, kick, heavy, and the run itself. You got a zone, which is GB invulnerable. I use that a lot. And then you got a roll catcher that works as a kind of slower, long-range heavy that you can also use for soft painting. You can also deflect run basically whenever you want, and functionally it doubles your moveset at any point. In comparison, the new girl only has lights that can't be backstepped, for obvious reasons, but sadly this does remove depth. Neutral heavies with no soft feints, a zone, and a dodge for bash, which they're basically the same thing. It's a 50-50 bash mix-up. Hitbox is a little different, range is a little different, and yeah, you can do tricks like dodging forward and then zoning, which isn't something new to anyone who plays PP. And then you got your multi-directional dodge attacks, which are reactable, so this leaves you with a neutral bash and raw heavies as your only way of reliable neutral offense. Your only way to enter your stance, unless you got a tier 1. And neutral is the most important part of a character's kit, since that's where you're gonna be most of the time. This is why I like characters with really fun neutrals, like Scent. And this is why she's going to suffer when I give her my final ranking. Another problem is, to no one's surprise, ganks. Everyone knows this, so I'll keep it short. The ability to remain invulnerable in ganks is a problem. See characters like Kyoshin and Warlord. And the ability to heal while remaining safe is an even bigger problem. See the most problematic anchor in the game? Like Prior. Unfortunately, he still gets to keep that title thanks to Oathbreaker. But the problem is the same. I enter my stance, you can't hit me, I can bleed you, and if you try to guard me, my teammate will save me, so there's literally nothing you can do about it. And don't you even dare breathe in my direction because I'm gonna punish you for it. I'm starting to have the opinion that every time one of these full block characters enters their stance, that act alone should be revenge, because this is ridiculous. At least the heroes that can attack from full block, right? Like Kyoshin. So yeah, the Ultra Instinct stance is low-key too strong. Again, it's a full block that counters everything except undodgeables, except you can also crush and counter out of that mode, so theoretically there's nothing you can't counter. Attacks from this mode also have no GB vulnerability, so you can make a right read on this character, dodge her bash or whatever, and then eat a 30 damage heavy because you dared punish her with a guard break. That's just dumb. And people saw that from day one. This invulnerability can be exploited by scripters or by people with really good reactions to become functionally immortal and unpunishable. So yeah, at least on the heavies, she needs more vulnerability. Also, instant hyper armor heavies do not suit a character like this. Said this in my previous video, but after playing her, it's clear that they're fundamental for her moveset to work. They do allow you to do some pretty creative things, so that's fun. I guess that despite my grievances, it is too late to remove them at this point, but what you can do and should do is nerf the timing on it, since clearly she doesn't need all that much hyper armor anyway. To mention one mistake that I made on my first video, right side stance lights are not enhanced, they are crushing counters, which is fine. I like what they are, and as of now, the only out of character abilities in the moveset are the right side heavies and the second feat, kinda. Anyway, going back to the Ultra Instinct mode, changing this to be a timing thing wouldn't work because this is a one-hit chain character, and if you make her stance simply disappear after 1 second, it would simply reset her back to neutral, and we've already established that her neutral is not very fun and very limited, so that wouldn't work. What we could also do is remove her ability to dodge bashes, since even visually some of these don't make a lot of sense, and balanced-wise this would put them on the same level of power as a regular full block, at least in the number of properties that it can counter. However, with this character, no solution will ever be perfect, since every single ability is so dependent and intertwined with every other part of her kit that if you remove one thing, everything else will come crashing down as well. To change how her stance works, you'd need to rework this character completely, and they're not going to do that. So again, without a hard rework, what I do is make her stance unable to dodge bashes, since, by the way, you can already physically press the dodge button when in the stance and she'll perform a dodge attack, so you can already dodge those regardless. Then nerf the hyper armor a little bit, increase the GB vulnerability on the stance heavies, and lastly make entering stance feed revenge, or at least apply a revenge tag. Maybe you could do a little thing where every second that you're ganking someone and you're in this mode, it feeds like 1 revenge per second, or however you want to balance that, but something needs to be done. And then if you want to make her more fun, just add more moves from neutral. Maybe heavy soft feint or a unique backstep light. You could also give her a deflect, since she's clearly an assassin hybrid. Actually, the game says that she's a hybrid, but what is she a hybrid of? 2 assassins? And the last thing I want to say about this character is that she's not even that fun. Bro, even versus an Orochi, if they're good, you'll see them backstep light into something else, or feint storm rush into a kick, or even a deflect. And generally the flow of combat will always be interactive and relatively varied, if you know what I mean. Gensei, Centurion, and Gatun are very good at this, since they'll always have different forms of offense from neutral, depending on the matchup and distance. The Virtuosa is always doing the same thing. She opens with a bash, or a light, and then she enters the top stance, and you got it. More lights and bashes. Except they're faster now. Yay. Yes, there's cool things you can do, but like 80% of the time, you're just gonna see her sit in that mode and poke you with 400 MS bashes and lights. Maybe throw an unblockable or hyper armor heavy every once in a while. This is why her stance is a problem. It covers too many options. So the only way that you can interact with it is with a guard break, and that's kinda boring. I appreciate that it's a unique mix-up, but it's also repetitive as hell, and it's kinda just not fun. And that's gonna be my review. All in all, considering her poor state of balance and general limitations, if Highlander and Khatoon are an 8.5 and Kensei is an 8, then the Virtuosa is getting a 7, because her gameplay is generally not all that. Considering that, again, she's got 0 footsies game. You gotta respect the fact that this is the most unique character in the game, both visually and mechanically. Although the mechanical part, I guess, it could probably go to Sohei. But again, quality-wise, it's clearly flawed, at least in my opinion. This is gonna be the end. See ya.